Food and Beverage Magazine Live, bringing food and beverage to life with your hosts, James Beard Award winner Jennifer English and Food and Beverage Magazine publisher Michael Politz. Featuring leaders in the hospitality, branded food and beverage, and CPG industries, many of whom are Jennifer and Michael's friends in the business. For an informal and informative conversation where friends in the business share the latest intel, ideas, and best practices. Live, juicy inside scoop from the tastemakers, newsmakers, bread bakers, drink shakers, spoon lickers, clam diggers, farms, foodies, and friends of the food and beverage magazine world. Here are your hosts, Jennifer English and Michael Politz.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. Hi, I'm Jennifer English. I am the editor-at-large of Food and Beverage Magazine, and this is Food and Beverage Magazine Live. We're doing a series of conversations with the future of food and drink, and today we have Michael Dagan from AirTab representing the future of entertainment and hospitality, and of course, the cocktail world. What does the future of the cocktail look like? Not only is Michael Dagan from AirTab joining us, but we have a very special guest, Sawhney from Tonight's Poison, one of the leading cocktail and drinks bloggers in the world, joining us. This is going to be a jam-packed and fun-filled conversation. Michael Dagan, AirTab guru. Now, I'm so thrilled you're here.
Right. Just make sure it's not Chief Financial Officer. People don't want to give me a checkbook. Don't forget that. No checkbook.
I know. Listen, I only make certain mistakes once, and some I can never live down. But I have to tell you, you guys are really crushing it. You've been on with us on Clubhouse, and people are just absolutely, gratefully aware now of what's going on with AirTab. And Joss, I have to say, welcome. I am a big fan of what you do. And you are one of the most influential and interesting guys in the cocktail game. And for you guys to come to talk about what the future of cocktails looks like is really exciting. And of course, Michael, let's start with AirTab. You represent the key unlocking the door to the future of nightlife and cocktails. Can you tell everybody why we're all getting together and what AirTab is?
Yeah, so AirTab, and we talked about this before, but to re-understand is that AirTab is the social networking app for restaurants and bars. Restaurants and bars, everybody had their Facebooks and their Instagram and their TikToks and stuff that really, those are fads. Those companies will go away real soon. Don't just put your mind on it. But AirTab is specifically built for the restaurant and bar business. And as we know, Jennifer, we talked about this many times, the number one employer in the country, the restaurant and bar business was destroyed, absolutely decimated. And it's something that AirTab was developed because of that, to drive traffic back in the restaurants and bars. And how do you do that? Well, you do that in a social atmosphere. And the social atmosphere is where are your friends going? Is that restaurant at capacity? Is it COVID safe? Have they done through their protocols? AirTab gives you all of that with our proprietary platform called Here Now Live, meaning as soon as you walk on the premise, you automatically populate at that bar and restaurant. And why are you going to that restaurant? And I'll tell you why you're going to that restaurant. Because we're giving you drinks to go to that restaurant. We're giving you drinks to go and enjoy and help the depletion in the alcohol industry. But the key is to stay at the restaurant and bar, to enjoy the ambiance, eat some food, and be able to support an industry that over the past year has been destroyed.
And everybody knows that even in the hospitality industry, it is the bar sector and the nightclub sector, the cocktail sector, where things were decimated the most. And that's where our other guest, our VIP guest tonight, Sawhney, I am a fan. I might gush and fangirl a little bit, but I think what you do on Tonight's Poison is really terrific. You're one of the world's leading cocktail writers and bloggers. From your standpoint, how have you seen our industry impacted by COVID, and what does that mean for the future of cocktails?
I mean, the industry has definitely been shook. It's been devastated. I've been in the industry for 15 years. I'm also on the wholesale side during the day. And in the evening, I have a passion project and the blog that I run on Tonight's Poison. It's devastated. The industry is devastated. And I actually got to meet Michael through you guys on your Clubhouse app and talk about a game-changing app that Clubhouse is. And I feel as far as our industry is concerned, cocktails concerned, this is going to be the disruptive app. AirTab is going to be the disruptive app, which is going to change the industry, and it's going to help on-premise come back on its feet again. This is something that happens only once in a while. By some luck, it launched around the same time as the pandemic was here. I think this is godsend in some ways. It's basically challenging the industry to reinvent itself, and they've already done all the technology behind it. So it's phenomenal. I can't wait to see it in works.
Let's talk a little bit about how the app works, and talk about it, if you would be good enough, from the cocktail point of view, both in terms of the mixologist and owner, but in terms of the brands as well, because I think we've done a lot of things to describe how it works for the consumer getting a couple of free drinks or 10 free drinks a month. But I want you to talk about the value and the really unique proposition of AirTab from the cocktail side of things. And I don't mean to make you the representative for the entire cocktail industry, but in this instance, I feel really comfortable saying you are.
That's okay. So the beauty about the cocktail business is that if you come up with a passion, if you come up with an idea, you can create a cocktail and bring it to market. The downside of the cocktail business, just like any other business out there, there are giants, and the giants control the market, and they could bury you in the market.
Yeah.
So with our brand, with AirTab, if a cocktail came to us and said, hey, we have our cocktail featured in just these 10 restaurants only, we can't really get any shelf space anywhere, we can't do that. We have the ability to make our app at those restaurants only, when our AirTab members go into those restaurants only, to be able to feature that bottle, that wine, that spirit, to be able to push a depletion. Then that spirit can then show, hey, people do love our brand, let's expand to go forward. At the same time you can come up with a Proper 12, for example. We're working to do something with Proper 12 for St. Patrick's Day, and we're going to be able to push Proper 12 on St. Patrick's Day or after St. Patrick's Day. We're doing a post, don't stop being a St. Patrick's, and be able to push that because of our proprietary platform, that we're able to identify the people on site, and the bartender acknowledges the people that are there. That's the key to allowing us to be able to, as you might always say, buy the drinks for the participating people of what we suggest.
Josh, would you take a turn on that same question as my cocktail guru? Please, how do you see AirTab disrupting?
Look at his background. I mean, come on. If he's not the cocktail guru, I don't know what is.
I'm more of a neat spirits guru because I love enjoying the spirit for what it is in its essence. Initially, I'll take a sip, neat, and then I'll mix it up in a cocktail. You want to try the base for what it is. But I feel this app, besides mentioning that it's a game changer, it's going to make the on-premise experience for people when they come back a lot easier. I feel the Roaring 20s are going to be coming back. People, once this thing is done, everybody's taking their shots, they're going to go out and people are going to want to celebrate. And what better way to celebrate than to make the entire experience easier, more tech savvy? It's easier for the consumer because now they're going to be able to see what place is COVID friendly and if they're keeping up with all the things with COVID, and where their friends are, what drinks they're drinking. It's the social media aspect of it. Networking is there. It's going to make the process simpler for the retail space, for the bar and restaurants, because it's going to be digital.
Jess, I want to ask you, put me in the mindset, because you're in the wholesale side of things as well. Put your brand self in the answering position, and help me understand what brands are going to be thinking of when they're presented with the AirTab technology opportunity.
I think it's all about the back-end database. It's data. With anytime when it's all technology-based systems, you're able to track every little click, every little follow-up, everything you like on the back end. So I think the suppliers, the brands, are going to be extremely happy with a technology like this to be able to see the results data in a push of a button. Probably Michael could probably talk more about that. But I think that's going to be the key to any brand seeing the data and seeing things proceed and brand building happening.
And when you're in the brand business, which you are, you're in the business of anticipating what the operators and the mixologists want and need. Will you help me interpret the value of AirTab's proposition for the operators and the mixologists?
So I've had one meeting with Michael and just learning about the app, and I think the app offers a win-win proposition for everyone. First of all, it's helping the on-premise get consumers back. Consumers are coming in because they're being enticed by a free drink offer. Now they're spreading the word to their friends. They're trying something new. Suppliers are shaking hands with AirTab and saying, you know, we're going to do something extra beyond for you. We're going to help possibly educate the account with a special cocktail. It's a win-win for all. It's a great system. And it's basically, you know, what Uber did for the taxi. It's what Drizzly did for the retail as far as getting Drizzly hit it off. I mean, Uber just purchased them. And the reason for that is because of what the pandemic did. Right. There was a need for people not going out to a liquor store and purchasing, but they want to hit a button and get things delivered to them. But now when people start going out to restaurants and bars, they're also looking for some sort of a tech savvy way to interact and make the experience a lot easier. And this app certainly does it.
Now I got to say, when you're giving me 2 free drinks, and I'm going to let Michael talk to this after this, but if I got 2 free drinks, I'm immediately thinking, what's the best value for me in this experience? And I'm looking at those beautiful bottles behind you of neat pours. And I'm imagining that if I had a friend like you in the business to say, what is the best way I could use this drink to experience something new, to taste something prized, to sip something delicious? I'm going to guess that you might have some very good advice about how best to use my AirTab sips. And I would imagine that something like a connoisseurs club where people are using those drinks to try certain very high-end things might be in everybody's win-win situation, best interest. Would you talk a little bit about the best way you think people can use these drinks to experience a new world of whiskeys and spirits?
If you're referring to me or Jazz?
I'm asking Jazz.
Okay.
You know, suppliers are getting very creative in cocktail creation. They're always trying to reinvent the wheel and push the limits, whether it's visualization, whether it's the salt with a spice on the rim. It's just being creative. One thing I saw in the app was when you're looking at a cocktail and it's showcasing the brand, a lot of times when you're in the account, all you see is a Cosmo. You really see what the brand is, the story behind it. In the app, when you're ordering a Cosmo or you know an Irish drink, it's giving you a story behind it. You're able to kind of read and understand. And as we know in marketing and sales, the story is half of it. I mean, once the story gets you, you believe in the brand more. It tastes better. So from tech perspective,
and I agree with that. So Jennifer, what Jazz just said is unique to AirTab. You can go to a Yelp review or someone else's review, and the concept of that review is you don't know who the person is. But in AirTab, when someone rates a drink or someone rates a wine or a spirit, you're actually able to go then see the person, see what they actually like, see if they're BS, see their pictures and so forth. Once again, it becomes a social atmosphere that you can actually text that person and say, hey, how was that spirit? Did you really like it that much? That's a big interaction, which is what we really want to have when we are viewing our spirits.
And I just was writing this down. It's a known entity. The credible review is a known entity. Jazz, one of the things I wanted to ask you, and maybe I asked it inelegantly, would I rather have a cocktail or a neat pour with my AirTab drink? And where's the better experience, do you think?
I would say definitely both because you get 2 cocktails. So I will order one neat if it was me personally. 2, if I'm trying something new for the first time. Proper 12 if somebody's having for the first time. It's Conor McGregor's Irish whiskey. And if I've never had it before and I'm having other brands which are Irish, I want to taste the base, the spirit. I want to try it by itself neat. And then I want to experience it in a cocktail. For me, that's how I would do it. But there's no wrong or right way. It's to each person's preference. You know, some people say, oh, do I add Coke to my whiskey? I said, do whatever you want. I like having my whiskey neat, and sometimes in the cocktail, it just depends on the mood.
Definitely not a Coke. Definitely not Coke to the whiskey. Diet Coke if you want, but definitely not Coke.
So, Jessa, what I'm seeing is, Michael, can you imagine people doing their connoisseur lists that you can download as your virtual AirTab bucket lists and say, with the next 10 drinks, I want to try these 10 whiskeys and find where you can have them. I mean, to me, this is such an...
Right. And we have that in the app, Jennifer. We have to where you can do tastings. We do tastings on the fly. We do tastings with mixologists involved. And if you go to our website or our app, you'll be able to see the tasting module. The key with the tasting module is two things, Jennifer. It's the idea for the user, which is great. Right. It's the idea for the restaurant, because we're flooding the people in there at no cost to the restaurant to taste it. But the key of it is the final key to the cog is the spirit manufacturer can get the ratings of actually how people feel about the whiskey, about the tequila. Wow, I love this. And then they can get that data and say, hey, we're good. Or, wow, we didn't realize that 27-year-old men are our target market when we're going after women.
Right. And I love the idea of having celebrated mixologists and connoisseurs making their own lists to try.
Yeah.
To me, like the curated bucket lists of sips. I really love that idea.
We're going to be having during the weeks coming up, starting in April, what we're going to call the Around the World. So you get your 10 drinks in your locker as your VIP membership. You 2 per day we talked about. So we're going to be able to give you 10 drinks to go around the world and you can go to the same bar over and over again, but the idea is to go to different bars 5 times, and you're going to try this drink, and you're going to be rating it as you go along. So at the end of the month, we can go, hey, Mr. Whiskey, you were number 1, vodka was number 10. We're able to do that so people can go back and then be able to say, this is what we're going for. So it's all about, I know it's about the fun, but on the business side, as we all know, it's all about the data.
Well, I love that.
Yeah, so that's how easy it is to redeem a drink. As you saw when the person presented the drink to the bartender, it said, do you want a Maker's Mark? Do you want a Kettle One? They chose the Maker's Mark. The bartender acknowledged that it was a Maker's Mark. It gives a countdown. So it's, we still have to be ethical. We still have to make sure that they are acknowledging that they are getting the particular brand. And once again, it goes back to the brand itself. They're acknowledging it. And then the timer starts. And then they have 45 minutes to take their pictures, have an appetizer, order another drink, get a meal. And then after the 45 minutes, you're able to get that next drink. And most people are staying, Jennifer, from what we've even seen during COVID, most people are saying, and we did it Florida, Texas, and California. So we did all different states, not just Florida, which is wide open, for an hour and 10 minutes in the restaurant and bar. That's valuable to the restaurant because people are staying longer, eating more, spending more, which is what we need.
And that's what the future of food and drink and nightlife looks like. I want to give you the last word, Joss. What do you think the future of sipping is going to look like? And what is your poison?
My poison of choice is whiskey. I'm more of a whiskey aficionado, but it changes. I started in the industry 15 years back, and it was cognac, and then I became a wine guy, and now I'm an everything guy. But my first love right now is whiskey. The industry, as I said, I think we're coming into, hopefully, I knock on wood, I hope on this, I pray on this, a mini Roaring 20s or a big Roaring 20s. Yeah. I think people are eager to go out. They're just waiting. I think the summertime is going to get here, and hopefully the rules be more relaxed and people feel more safe outdoor seating. And I think people are going to really go out and spend and enjoy. And apps like AirTab will help expand and enhance the experience and make it easier.
I agree completely. Michael Dagan, last word for you, sir. What do you want to wrap up with on this?
Well, I want to wrap up on this real quickly because we're working on a module that we have in our app. And I know I should be adding more to the conversation. We'll put it towards the next. But we have a module called the direct consumer module, which is a populating industry, right, and so forth. And we're working with companies like Wine Chateau, who actually Jazz introduced me to, that when you're at the bar and restaurant and you like that vodka or that whiskey or that wine, we're going to say, hey, if you really like it, we can drop ship it right to your house. Like they said many times, don't go to the supermarket hungry because you're going to buy. We want to be able to give that consumer who says, wow, I really like this whiskey. I don't want to go hunting for it. Let me just buy it right here. It shows up at their house in a couple days.
Michael Dagan, AirTab, CRO, Josh, Sawhney, nice to have you with us from tonight's Poison. This is Food and Beverage Magazine Live. Cheers.
Cheers.
Whether you are thinking about becoming a restaurateur or you are already in the business, Michael Politz has written a must-read, The Food and Beverage Magazine's Guide to Restaurant Success. Pick up your copy today at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Books A Million, or wherever fine books are sold.